2, 3. Hello and welcome to the Brainstorm Podcast. And now, your host, Shim Perlman.
This next podcast comes with a warning or a heads up. Basically, if you tune into this podcast for talking about mental health issues and growth and talking about addiction and all these topics that we usually discuss, this is not the podcast for you. You should just skip this one. I sat down with my brother Shim, and we just had a great conversation about all different types of topics. Most topics I almost never discuss, definitely not publicly. It was incredibly fun, incredibly different, and always special to hang out with my brother. But as I finished, I realized, hey, I didn't do my typical podcast here. So I thought I'd give you a warning. I obviously enjoyed this thoroughly. I always enjoy hanging out with all my brothers, but Shim was really fun. And actually, at the end of the podcast, if you did last to the end, we got a surprise phone call from my brother Kiwi, who ended up joining us for a little bit. Anyway, if you do want to listen to this podcast, even though it is not about your typical stuff, enjoy. Hey, Shim.
Hola.
How you doing?
Good.
I realized we're just sitting there talking about whatever we were talking about, and why can't it be on a podcast?
That's correct. We should. I think it was very interesting what we were speaking about.
Okay.
To me, at least.
Well, we were talking about what we were talking about. Tell us what we're talking about.
Okay. So, I don't know if this would interest you. Didn't seem like it did.
Okay, this is what I thought.
Okay.
Every time I talk on the podcast, I'm always talking about like bigger topics and like psychological understandings of things and bigger. And the truth is, I am very curious what's happening in the world, but not curious enough to actually open a newspaper or look at any social media. Or I'm not that curious, but you know things, and then we talk about them, and then so tell me about what you're talking about.
Well, by the way, I disagree because I think the things you're interested in, you research, you do your homework.
I do, but it's always like a much like broader. Like I don't like unless it's like I guess maybe I should say it differently. If something is interesting, I will research it, even if it's happening right now and it's dumb. So that's true.
Yeah,
that is true. I like to think of myself as a really broad thinker, but I definitely could get like tunnel vision on certain ideas.
Yeah, so I'm the same way.
Yeah.
We have similar DNA.
Yes, we do. We sound exactly the same. By the way, this is Sonny.
And this is Shim. If you could tell the difference, you win a prize.
I will warn you guys that anybody who listens to this podcast at double speed will not be able to tell the difference.
You will not succeed.
You won't hear any nuances, and we will sound exactly the same.
I could try to put on, like, maybe speak at a higher decibel. Hey, how's it going?
Okay, tell me about this. There's a guy ran over people, you told me? What is it? What happened?
Yeah, so I'm very into watching court cases. Actually, sometimes I go to J Street in Brooklyn to watch live cases going on at the criminal court.
Do you?
I literally go. I go with a notebook and a pen. And I just ask. I go to the clerk's office. I say, "Where's the murders cases going down?" And they tell me which room. And I head over there and I listen to whatever part of the case they're up to. I just sit there and I take notes.
I did not know this.
Yeah, it's like a weird.
Do you know I sat on a jury in that place?
That's cool.
I did it on purpose. You know how hard it was to get on a jury?
It is hard.
You have to really dumb yourself down pretty bad to get on a jury. But I got on a jury, and I sat there for 2 weeks on this jury, and we didn't even get to conclude because they did I don't know, a deal at the end. They just kicked us out, and they're like, "You could go home now."
That's boring.
Well, this guy was completely fried, though. It was a completely African American jury with an African American defendant, and these rich white doctors were like the ones who were they were the defendants. he was the one who was hurt, and
he had no chance.
Done. I was the only white person on this jury, and I mean, I probably would have said guilty also, but I was his only chance.
Because
That's all I'm saying. It was so biased. It was terrible.
You would have said guilty because of the pressure of the rest.
No,
of the
I don't
jury?
think so. I don't think so. I don't think I would have fallen for the pressure. It wasn't like a criminal. It was more a money thing.
Right.
And I think there was some negligence. It was like a doctor thing. But it was hard to know. Like, I feel like it's the type of thing that would happen just because it's a very full docket, and you just like, I don't have time for everything, and they made a mistake somewhere and didn't, like maybe it was negligence, but everybody else, like, we weren't allowed to talk about it, but we were talking about it, and they were like, yeah, well, this guy, he's a blue collar guy, like, he deserves some money. These guys walked in like $4,000 suits. They looked gorgeous, like these white doctors, and everybody was like, just take their money and give it to them. Like,
yeah,
like they didn't even have to be a court case. You should be like, you guys should give your money to this guy. It wasn't nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, what happens with this court case with J Street thing?
Yeah. So that was just, I was just painting a picture. Like, even online, I follow certain YouTubers that follow cases. Most of the cases that I like to follow on YouTube are not like necessarily murder cases, but mostly like sovereign citizen cases where, from the arrest, the guy's driving and gets pulled over, and then the cop asks him for his license and registration. And he says, what crime have I committed?
Right, I love those videos.
Yeah. What crime? Where's the injured party? Huh? And you're like, they just pull out all this, like, a list of stupidity.
Oh, am I being
detained?
Am I being detained?
Am I free to go?
Am I free to go?
Yeah.
They say it a million times.
You're like,
I love these videos.
no, you're not free to go, buddy. You're sticking right here.
What's your name and badge number?
Yeah.
Name and
what are
badge
you gonna
number.
do with that information? What's your name and badge number? Okay.
Right.
It's like a bullying tactic. Like, I have power too. I could ask you for your
Well,
name.
I had a friend who was like one of these sovereign citizen guys, and he would fight all his tickets by like I don't know exactly how he did it, but I think he'd like pull out the actual Constitution, like the scroll, and be like, and that's how I imagined him fighting these cases, because he'd be like, there is an amendment that we have freedom of travel.
Exactly.
I don't need a license. I don't need. Every person. You're not allowed to stop me from traveling.
Exactly.
So you stop me on the road, you're doing a crime. You're asking me for a license, you're messing with my rights. He would fight with every case. Like, if you gave him like a double parking ticket, he'd go in and start fighting it that way. So, okay, so
did he ever win?
I don't think he's ever paid a ticket.
That doesn't mean he won.
Yeah, so I don't really know the conclusions.
It means he has 16 warrants, but he hasn't paid anything. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know.
He has bench warrants, and
It could be, but he doesn't recognize the court.
Right.
Like, I don't recognize.
They don't have jurisdiction. That's what they always say.
Right,
Prove your jurisdiction.
Right.
And the court doesn't really have to prove jurisdiction. If you did a crime in a certain area and the court's there, that's the court you're going to go to. And if they put handcuffs on you, that proves jurisdiction. They have power over you, buddy.
That's the rule.
That's just how it goes.
Oh.
And we vote.
So wait, you're watching these videos. You're on the cop side.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I always want to see the cops lose in those videos. I'm on their side.
Well, sometimes the cops are abuse their power, and that's what I don't like.
Right.
Yeah, I'm on the cop side because these guys, they need to learn. They're loony. They're out of control.
All right, so you're telling me this case about, what was this case?
So then there was a recent case that happened with it happened in Waukesha County of, I can't remember the state.
Right.
But anyway, this guy.
Was it Arizona?
No, it was East Coast, Waukesha County. You can look it up. But
Okay.
his name was Darrell Brooks, and he horribly. He got into a fight with his girlfriend, and there was a parade going on that day. It was a Christmas Day parade, and everything was lot of joy, a lot of different groups dancing, and he drove off from his girlfriend and then drove through the parade route, killing 6 people, and knocking and injuring or severely injuring 60 more, around that number.
Wow.
He was looking at 73 counts. 73 counts. And anyway, he ended up wanting to represent himself because he's a sovereign citizen. It was a pretty slam dunk case.
Yeah.
For the DA, they had a slam dunk case. The problem was that because he's representing himself, it has to be done differently. He's going to be a total maniac in court. He built a box fort.
What?
The judge sent him into the other courtroom, and he took his banker's boxes, and you could see him on video. And he took his boxes and he built a fort in front of him so the video can't see him. He was like really protesting. It was really weird.
And those boxes were supposedly his files.
Those are his files, yeah.
And he built a fort.
Yeah, it was very funny.
And you couldn't see him.
Yeah, and
What about all the times I see in like court TV, like I am the judge and I am in charge. If you don't say this, they couldn't do any of that.
So they didn't do any of that. It was a very patient, motherly judge.
Right.
Very patient. They didn't want it to be a mistrial because you could claim that if she gets upset at him, that it's biased, that she's biased towards him or against him.
Right.
So, she really had to play a tightrope like this, give him 1,000 chances and whatever.
Right.
Either way, I think what interests me, and going back to like what we were talking about earlier before recording, like, or maybe we were recording, it does, human nature does interest me a lot. For some reason, this type of human nature is very interesting to me. The kind of like group think in a wrong direction, like the flat earthers, and like people just so staunchly believe in some sort of truth that is so obviously false. Like, how did this happen? How did it happen? It's kind of mind-boggling.
But I find this whole thing very fascinating too, but let me ask you a question because you're the one who brought it up. Wouldn't you say that anybody would say that about anybody else's belief almost? Like, we all believe kind of one thing. Like, you believe kind of like Judeo-Christian values are like kind of right, So anybody else who doesn't believe those values are like idiots. Like if someone comes in and says like, we believe that slavery is what makes you closer to the creator of the universe and everybody should be a slave. You'd be like, that's nuts. Or like the flat earthers. I find some really fascinating stuff about flat earthers. I would like to be a flat earther. And the reason is not because I believe it. I work on my emunah for flat earth, and I'll try to believe it. But if you ever look at their conventions, it's like Comic-Con. It feels like home. Like these people found a community of people and like surrounded around this kind of wild idea. They found a community where they feel safe, and they all are protesting the idea of science and saying this is a flat earth and everybody's been lying to us. And I have a lot of thoughts about it, but when I watch all the documentaries, which I watch plenty of with the flat earthers because I'm absolutely fascinated, and I think I once did a calculation of statistics that there are more flat earthers in America than Jews.
No.
In America. I did this statistic, but I have to look that up again. I don't have like a producer to look that up.
That's really
But it is crazy.
That is interesting.
That is crazy. But I feel like human nature is we pick a group, and no matter how crazy it is, we just go along with it. Like, who's to say who's crazy? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's a good question. I think, let me ask you a question about a flat earther, okay?
Yeah. I'll be the flat earther for this one.
Okay, good. Okay.
Nice.
So when you went to school, right?
I did go to school.
And your teachers, they taught you about the solar system?
Yes.
And
Used to be 9 planets.
it used to be not
Keep going.
right. And so they taught you, right?
That's exactly what a flat earther would have said right then.
Right.
Putting a hole right in the middle of your
My direction.
your
here.
direction you got God.
So when they were talking about it, you must have been what, 10?
Even younger, yeah.
So you took their word for it.
That there was planets.
That the planets and the world is round and everything like
no,
that.
I was a sucker then, yeah.
You're a real sucker. So
Sucker. You could tell a kid anything.
So what age what happened in your life?
I'm the flat earther right now.
What trauma occurred?
Okay.
No, there was a few steps I needed to take in the middle.
Okay.
No, so my question is, when did you start believing in what's in the flat Earth?
In the flat earth?
Yes.
I never started believing in the flat earth. I just stopped believing the lies they told me about round things.
Okay.
What round things? I've never seen a round thing.
Right. So, in your opinion, the world is right. You feel the world is flat because that's what you see. Your eyes see flat land.
You see flat, yeah.
It always ends up flat at some point.
It's just flat.
So it can't be.
Also, I've seen balls and things fall off the side of them.
Yeah.
I would say, like, you take a tennis ball, everything falls off, especially if you spin it, and everything falls off faster.
Wait, being a flat earther it also means you don't believe in gravity?
Well, yeah.
No way.
Well, there are different groups, as far as I know. But flat earthers don't necessarily believe that, well, what would be gravity? If we're a flat earth, how are we sticking to it is the question. And a lot of flat earthers believe that Earth is just flying upwards at 1G.
Oh, so we're
stuck to Earth.
So it's like a flying pizza.
It's a flying pizza in the sky.
And Antarctica surrounds the whole...
Antarctica's is the wall. Like, it keeps... Winter is coming.
Yes.
It's the wall.
Jon Snow.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yeah. Jon Snow apparently was a flat earther. He knew nothing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but anyway...
but I can tell you that I believe that the reason I'm fascinated by flat earthers is that there's a couple of things. First of all, they made science into a religion. And that, to me, could push away enough people. Meaning, like, when science started, there was a curiosity. Okay, we have a hypothesis, and then we try to disprove the hypothesis. That's how science works. And I say that the world is round, and then I try to disprove it, and I can't disprove it. So I would say the world is 99% chance round because I've done everything. I can't fully prove the world is round.
Right.
Because I've never, I can't.
There's no absolutes.
There's no absolutes in science.
Yeah.
So there was a curiosity where, I had to prove it. Then they would say something in science, and then science people became scared to mess with other science people because then you're the moron. So certain things like global warming or everything. I mean, science has been wrong more than any religion. They've been proven wrong many, many, many times. Throughout science, like in a lot of things. Right. So, but every time they have science, like they say, okay, now I'm trying to think, like in the 1970s, they were talking about global cooling, right? And then scientists, you're like kind of a moron if you didn't believe in global cooling. And then they switched it to global warming. And then everybody forgot about the global cooling. Like if you look it up, there's a lot of stuff about global cooling, like the world's going to get too cold and we're in trouble. Now it's global warming. And if you didn't believe it then, you're a moron. And if you don't believe this, now you're a moron. And we're watching, we have those jokes about like eggs. Are eggs good for you or bad for you? There's a cool video where like this guy in a time machine keeps coming back. And like each time he comes back, eggs are either bad or good or killing you or not killing you or saving you or killing. So like this thing that we're supposed to be observing, science is supposed to be such a curiosity. Let's try to figure out what's going on in this amazing universe. Every time they say something, it's like, you're an idiot if you don't believe it, right? So now it's dogma. Now this is the religion. If you don't believe, right now, if you don't believe in global warming, because the science doesn't seem to stack up. I don't know, because I'm not a scientist and I have no idea. Right. But, I mean, I'm assuming they're probably right. I just don't know, right? And then they'll say 92% of scientists believe in global warming. No. Who's going to actually look at that study and say, oh, wait, there's 100 scientists on this study and 80 of them are not global, like people who study the climate, or like no one's going to look at that actual study. But then you're a moron. So now you're telling us things, and then they are fact. Like there are 9 planets. Now there are 8. And if you believe there are 9 now, you're a moron. But if you believe there were 8, then you were a moron. So you turn to science, and now this whole group is like if you're telling me that I don't believe in your religion. Meaning science didn't become a pursuit of curiosity, it became a religion, and I don't want to believe it. So you break it down to so you said a lot of things. So the world is round. How do I know that? Because scientists told you. Well, I don't believe scientists. One thing I know is that scientists don't get a message from God telling them the truth, and they're trying to force me to believe it. So I see the first thing is I see this rebellion against this religion that was literally forced on us. It's like almost like I was born in a Muslim country, and now I gotta believe in Muslim. I was born in a science first world country, so therefore I have to believe science. I don't want to. I don't want to believe it. And I gotta tell you, for someone who studied history, science has been wrong many, 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 many times. Many times. And that's fine with me.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. Science should be wrong many times. And I don't have to believe in science. I don't have to believe in global warming, and I'm not saying I do or don't. I'm just saying I don't have to. It's not a belief.
But it also shows the integrity of science, that they're willing to constantly dig deeper. Like, they do come up with conclusions, but then you have the next scientist who's like, no, I want to dig in deeper and find out this is really true.
But that is becoming more rare.
You're saying that it's becoming like groupthink.
It's becoming groupthink, and that's what I think. And I think that in order for someone to step up and say, like Prager University, it decided to fight against global warming ideas. Well, they're considered like baboons. Like, what are you doing? This is not science. And the truth is, it's not. Prager University is generally like a religious kind of
Political.
right-wing political. So now they're the crazies who are trying to fight it. Like, who wants to be the crazy? And I think the other thing, and there was 2 things I wanted to say. First was it was like a rebellion against science as a religion. And the second one, I believe, is that it's community. Everybody is looking for a community to be connected to. And if you watch any of those documentaries, I mean, the people at these conferences, first of all, they're some of the weirdest people you ever see in your life. Like, they're social outcasts. Like, they are not your typical people. And they are 100% accepted, loved, cared for. And, like, it feels like you're coming home. When they go there, like, they're going with their tents and this, and it's like going to a football game. It's the most exciting thing you ever did. And if you look at these documentaries, there is a community. So you're telling me to have a community, I have to believe that the world is flat. That's easier to believe than a guy who was born from a virgin mother. Like, I'll take it. Right. That's an easier one to swallow. And there are billions of people who believe that a virgin mother had a baby.
Well, let me ask you this. Who would these people be 50 years ago? Who would they be? Would they be like the hippies? Would they be...
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the fighting against the...
I mean, the hippies
Vietnam.
were doing something like that.
Right.
I mean, there was like a whole culture where they were like, well, of course America has to go around and attack Vietnam. And then they were like, why? Why do we have to listen to you, crazy people? Why are you going to kill? I remember, and this is my own life because
You're that old.
we're about the same age, but
you experienced Nam.
I remember back in Nam.
I can guarantee you Sonny was not in Vietnam.
I was not in Vietnam.
If he says it, he's lying. Next.
But I do remember that after 9/11, I mean, there was a lot of attacking of other countries, stuff like that. But I remember that, like, Iraq was happening. Like, we have to go after Iraq.
Yes.
And I was going, like, why? Why are you doing that?
Like
Why
this
are
attack
we
didn't come from Iraq,
like nothing came from Iraq?
right?
They saying weapons of mass destruction. I'm like, what? What weapons of? Do you have people like showing weapons? And let's say they have weapons of mass destruction. Everybody has weapons of mass destruction. I don't know what you say. Why are we attacking another country? And you were like, well, you're not a national. Like I was fighting something that like you have to believe. Like we have to go. What do you mean? Iraq is bad, or we're living right now. It's like Russia is bad. They attacked Ukraine.
I've been talking about
And you're like,
this.
what?
You're like, do we know everything?
Do you know that? Okay, let me get into my stuff I'm really upset about.
Okay, fine.
Because I never talk about this stuff
Good,
on my
let's hear it.
podcast, but this is a totally different podcast.
I want to get pissed with you.
We are, right, we are currently, America, the military is in, well, I'll ask you, how many countries is America in?
Military power,
Military.
or whatever.
Our military, how many countries do you think we're in?
I
There's
mean,
like 290 countries, something like that?
yeah, I know we're in a lot.
How many countries? Who would you guess?
75.
I have to look it up, but it is over 150 countries we are in.
Nice.
Now,
Oh, that's pretty good. That's powerful.
that's insane.
I mean,
To me, that's insane. We are spending so much money on that. And I was like, you have a problem with the border? Here's the way I could fix the border. You ready? You bring all the soldiers back to America, and you just line them up on the border.
you could triple
That's it.
stack them.
You just give them make beautiful houses along the border, and the soldiers will live there. And then you don't need to make a wall or nothing. Just put them on the border. We have crazy amounts of money and people just around the world taking over, and we're looking at the world going, why are they so upset that we're in their country? And they're like, well, Russia's attacking Ukraine. We have to be in Ukraine. Literally, it's like, why are we around the world trying to take over this world? And it's like happening secretly that nobody here knows. I thought an amazing show would be that we go to every single country that the America is in and like find out why we're there.
Mm-hmm.
Like do like a little documentary show, 150 episodes. You go there, you try to talk to the military. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? And we're spending billions and billions of dollars being in this country. So now, if I wanted to buck that system and say like, I don't want to be in all those countries, well, you're crazy. That's what's happening.
Mm.
It's like we get these established ideas, and then you got to be the guy on the other side. So who are the people on the other side? The people are a little weird, a little this. They don't care that they, whatever. They're on the other side. I don't know where I'm going, but it gets me so fired up that I like that. So sometimes I look at these flat earthers, and I'm like, you go, guys. You go.
It's a crazy
You go.
idea, but you know what? You go for it.
You pick something you don't like, and you fight it.
Yeah.
Does it make a difference?
But that's what America is.
They
also.
won't fall off the world, and we won't fall off the world.
That's what America is also. The fact that we're allowed to have free flat earthers here, and we're all one big, mishmash of people, and they're allowed to say what they want to say.
Right.
By the way, can I just jump on the back of what you were saying before? When everybody, this is going to be controversial.
Yeah, let's go.
Yours wasn't terribly controversial. This is going to piss people off.
Okay.
When Britney Spears was fighting to end the conservatorship.
The what? Oh,
Conservatorship. Her father and I guess lawyer. I don't know exactly.
they figured out how to keep her a child, basically, and be in charge of her money and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Well, she had some breakdowns throughout her life, and they came in to help. Anyway, every single person I knew within a week of the news coming out were like, free Britney, free Britney. And I'm like, wait a second. Nobody knows anything. And you're already doing hashtags.
Right.
So I just said, I'm going to do, what about free Britney's dad? You know that?
Yeah.
No one's saying that. Not one person I know.
Yeah.
Like, who knows about this case? Nobody knew about the case. It does kind of like freak me out how fast people in America will take a side. immediately.
I don't think it's so controversial. I think I have the same exact thing. I actually one time, just because I was upset, and I am a former smoker, and I was upset about everybody's like smoking causes cancer, and then I realized that like we all say that, we're all sure of it. Like, what? Like, how do you know that?
Right.
Can you imagine asking a question like that? Like,
Well,
as a curious scientist, how do they know cancer causes smoking causes cancer? Because actually, I know a handful of people that died from lung cancer in my life,
right.
and not one of them smoked
Yeah.
or had secondhand smoke in their life, which is like one of them. They said she was the only person in her family. I don't know if you remember, Esnachama.
Oh yeah.
She's the only person in the family who didn't smoke.
Yep.
Everybody else smoked. She died from lung cancer. Also my favorite in the whole family, which always happens.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is she died from lung cancer, and people said to me, oh, because she had secondhand smoke like 50 years ago. I'm like, they actually were smoking cigarettes the whole time. What are you talking about? But everybody I know who's got lung cancer didn't die from cancer. So it's obviously that's very like just me, but
Yeah.
I was like, what? How do you know that? How do you know that? So I actually started looking into the research of like what is the science of smoking causes cancer. Well, I can tell you right off the bat, and this is going to be pretty controversial, that they have never proven that smoking causes cancer at any point. There is a correlation.
Boom.
That it seems that people that smoke have a much higher rate of lung cancer, which means an 8%, I think there's an 8% chance higher rate of getting lung cancer than anybody else.
8%?
I think as far as I know. Now, it could be
I
8
would think
times the
so
amount
much
because
higher.
I'm like, but I will look it up again. But the point is, I'm the only one I know who looked it up. And it happens to be it was a lot of complicated research, and I was having a difficult time reading it. But when I read it, it was like not much higher. And then I also started questioning, well, what about all the other things? Generally, smokers are not very good eaters. And generally, smokers don't exercise. And I mean,
Right.
there are some other factors. And the fact is, there are literally hundreds of cancers that are happening. Are we all going to say it's all cancer? It's all from smoking? Like we pick lung and throat, and yeah, it definitely seems like smokers. And then you meet smokers that are 100 years old. What I'm saying is this. It could 100% be right. First of all, smoking does not cause cancer because they've never proven that.
Right.
Even if they proved it 99%, it's not a causation. It's a correlation. It's correlated that cancer and lung cancer and smoking seem to be connected.
Right.
On a higher level. Definitely higher than anything else. So you're saying it. But we make a statement, and it's on every single cigarette box, and it's every single, it's out there. And if you say, if I got up and said, and I did the research, and I got up and I said, smoking does not cause cancer, it's not even bad for you, here's my opposite research.
You're going up on a cross.
I'd go, right.
Yeah, you're going to.
I'd be canceled. And I've seen YouTube videos of people making those claims. And they're really hard to find. You got to go to the other search engines to find it.
Right.
They're not going to be on Google. They're not going to be. There are people that have made these arguments. So when that keeps happening, there's going to be a lashback. Like, why do you get to tell me what to think? Eventually, we say, hey.
If you tell me two truths and a lie all the time,
Right.
then I'm going to eventually just pick what I want.
Right.
Because,
I don't know what's true.
yeah.
There used to be 9 planets. That is crazy. We had a whole poem that we had to remember, which I forgot, to remember the planets. And now it's different, right?
Yeah.
Because now we have 8 planets.
Pluto.
And you're an idiot if you believe Pluto is a planet. You're a total idiot. Okay, it's just a rock. It was just a rock then. Why were we calling it a planet?
Why isn't it a planet? I miss Pluto.
I miss Pluto.
Come back, Pluto. Is it not? Is it?
You know what I just read? That Pluto, because it's so far away, from when we recognized it a planet till we didn't recognize the planet, it hasn't even flown around the sun once.
Really? We don't know if it fully goes.
No,
all
it goes
the way?
around the sun, but
Oh.
it's just so far away that it didn't even get a chance to do one round before we're like, you're out of the game.
Pluto.
Like, let him finish.
Speed up, buddy.
Just
do it.
let him go once. It's like you're kicking him out of the playground too early.
Well, when is he going to make its first, from the time we saw it, when is it going to be full?
We don't care. It's just a rock.
Oh, right.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares
Some
about
of us
Pluto.
care.
Nobody
I
cares about Pluto.
care.
By the way, all that might not be true.
Oh, really? God.
I've never seen Pluto.
I've seen pictures NASA took. But
Right.
again, we don't know.
But again,
You could also have taken a picture of a ping pong ball and blurred it out a little.
yeah.
Pluto.
I watch all those superhero movies.
Those look
From
pretty
the-
real.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that Thanos is real.
I have a question.
Yes.
This new one, Black Adam.
I didn't watch it. Did you watch it?
No. I don't like those movies anymore. I only watch horror and gore.
Okay.
For some reason. Black Adam, what a name.
It's a Marvel comic.
When did it come out?
Long time ago.
Like during slavery time or like a super slave?
I think there's a regular Adam.
There is?
Maybe
There's
I'm
just
wrong.
Adam and then Black Adam?
I think Black Adam. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I do remember these comics, but he was in the comics in like the 50s, 40s, I think.
How did that happen?
How did?
Like
I didn't
back-
watch it. I
Back
don't
in the
know.
40s, someone was like, "We got to make a superhero, and we're gonna call him Black Adam."
Black Adam.
That is messed up. Something wrong was. I don't know. I don't want to know.
You don't.
I
wanna,
do want to know.
It's
but,
super
like,
racist.
It's so weird. It also infers that all the other superheroes are white. 99.999% are
Could
white.
we admit that that's true?
Yes.
Yeah, they are white. They're
Yep.
sticking in some people from other cultures, but
Venom's black.
there you go.
That's
Venom's
his
black?
bad side. That's Spider-Man's
He's
bad
not
side.
black. He's a white guy who goes in a black suit.
Blackface. Again.
Yeah.
It's all over. Anyway, we should get off this topic
Which
quickly.
topic you want to go on?
Oh, I wanted to say something before, but I don't know, it slipped my mind. We've been talking a while. Lots of different good topics. Really, I love these types of conversations.
I'm not sure at all anybody wants to listen to this podcast.
I doubt anyone made it to this point.
No.
If you did, round
Congrats.
of applause.
We should say,
You need to get a life. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm just going to say purple at this point. So if someone says they listen to this podcast, I want to know if they heard purple. All right.
If they say purple. All right. that's
No, I'm saying if I ask somebody, they're like, oh, I like that podcast. I'll be like, oh, I said a color in the,
Yeah.
color I said?
It's like the Easter
I'm going to test
egg.
them
It's an Easter egg.
because people definitely listen to like 2 seconds of my podcast. Like, oh, it was really good.
Yeah.
It was good. I really liked it.
And you say, what'd you like about it?
Oh.
Oh, well,
Yeah. I like how you like said your opinion on things. Like,
yeah.
you're really not afraid. You know, you say it. You say you're not afraid.
I know. By the way, I just want to say
Yes.
in closing, because
There's no closing.
not closing, I just think that I like your perspective because you're not a conspiracy theorist. You're not a nut. You're just your opinion, your perspective is very rational. It is very rational. Makes a lot of sense. It's like I always tell, like, if someone comes up to me and says 9/11 didn't happen, everything he says after that is garbaggio.
Garbaggio.
Is gone.
Right.
It's a fugazi. Like you could say any fact after, and I won't believe you. But you're like, no, we have the right to challenge ideas when there's so many ideas that are confusing and conflicting from sources we're supposed to believe. I think you're right. I mean, we shouldn't stop questioning.
I think there's a tipping point that's happening, and that's why we got so many conspiracy theorists, is that there is a tipping point where, like, there's been teams, and you have to believe every single thing we say at this point. And then we were able to swallow this and that, but, like,
Yeah.
and then you lie. I mean, I just saw a 9/11. Let's get on the 9/11 thing. I just saw a 9/11 thing. where I didn't know this till close to a year ago, let's say, that the day before 9/11, he got on the, what's his name? Secretary of Defense, whatever, Rumsfeld, gets on the White House lawn and says, we don't know where $2.3 trillion has gone. I don't know if you know this.
No.
No, it's on YouTube. It was September 10th. He gets on the lawn. He says, we have misplaced $2.3 trillion. Look this up. $2.3 trillion. That's more money than I think 95% of the countries in the world have. We have misplaced it in the military. We do not know where it is in the last 10 years, something like that. And then the next day is completely forgotten because 9/11 happens, and then we're attacking every war, and we're back to war and attacking everybody and killing everybody, and like no one mentioned it after that day. It was it. Done. Wow. And I'm like, how could that not make your head spin in like, and they even went as far as I think to say like the plane hit the Pentagon where that information is stored.
Did they say that?
Somebody said that. You can look up further that, and they're like, oh, like the paperwork is like we're never gonna figure it out now. It's just too big a mess.
Yeah.
And we're attacking wars, and we have wars to fight. And like people are making trillions of dollars on wars, trillions. And I'm supposed to believe when you say this building fell, and all the buildings fell straight down. I could totally hear everybody going, "What? This is crazy." How could all this like happen? So like, and it keeps stacking up, and then like you're being lied to straight with this COVID stuff. I'm going in deep now. COVID stuff.
I was thinking of going there, but
I'm not going. I'm not. I'm just saying like, I lost all trust in what the government was saying after that doctor. Who's a doctor we
Fauci?
hate? We hate Dr. Fauci.
I didn't say we hate him.
I'm just kidding. Dr. Fauci went and announced. I remember early in the beginning when I didn't know what to do, and I was worried. Honestly, I was genuinely worried. Everybody was, and I was running a sober home, and I had to like, am I closing down? I'm staying open, going to work, not going to work. I didn't know.
Right.
And he said, "Do not wear masks. Don't wear masks. It's not going to help. Do not wear a mask." And like I listened to that happen, and then a couple months later, you have to wear a mask or you will die immediately. Like I don't know, like immediately on your spot. If you don't wear a mask, you're the most evil person in the world. And then they asked, "Well, didn't you say don't wear masks?" He says, "Yes, because I didn't want anybody to buy the masks because it needed to be for the nurses and the doctors."
Yeah, that was.
He literally said that.
That was messed up.
And I was like, "You lost me."
Right.
I don't, like you said, if someone tells me 9/11 didn't happen, everything he says from there, I don't believe him.
Right.
The second Dr. Fauci said, this guy should be locked up forever.
Tricked America.
Like, I was just lying to you because I didn't want a run on the masks because we need it for the doctors. So I just lied to everybody. I just told you a lie so that you don't have to be safe. You're like, you're going to die but at least I'll save the doctors. And that was his plan.
Right.
After he said that, like, how is this guy not locked up in prison? And then we go on, and if you don't listen to what Dr. Fauci says, you're evil. So, like, how many times, like, fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. So we're at a point, I think we're at a tipping point where they just feed you garbage, and then you're like, okay, the world is flat. Prove me wrong. And you're like, well, there's like about 1 billion ways I can prove it. Keep trying to prove me wrong. Good point. Gravity. Everything else is round.
Exactly. Give us our Pluto back.
Give us our Pluto back and we'll talk.
And then we'll have a... Right?
We'll talk.
Stop taking planets.
It was the only one named after a dog. Let's get down to it.
Who owned that dog?
Pluto. I don't know. He was in the Walt Disney. It was a Disney thing, no?
Yes.
Pluto.
We named it after the dog?
I doubt it.
Okay.
No, I think Pluto is some sort of Roman god or something. I don't know.
A Roman god that never
Also
really
named
existed.
after a dog. Because Pluto was the dog.
Yeah.
That was the dog. Anyway.
All right, man.
It's the stupidest conversation ever.
That's awesome. Great midday conversation. It's 5 p.m.
It's almost 5.
Yeah, it's time for a drink.
What kind of drink? There's a sober home.
Oh,
There's there's no drinking.
Soda,
in
I
sober
guess.
homes. So, but I would tell you something. I get really, really riled up with conspiracy theories.
You are revved.
I get revved. I really want to know. And I have this evil feeling that I would love to start one. Like I would love to come up with a conspiracy, bring it out like I really believe it, and see how far it goes.
In like what area? Science or like religion?
I don't know. I don't have like a particular area that I care enough about.
Which area do you want to poop?
Like, you know what? I wish I came up with flat Earth. Like,
That's a good one.
I know what I'm saying. Like, I love the one that we never went to the moon. It's fantastic. Like, how come I didn't think of that? What I'm saying is, like, I would love to come up with some wacky one and see how far it goes. Because all this stuff really, I got to tell you, when it comes down to it, it makes me challenge my faith in anything. Because we're just fed stuff. And we're fed it, and we're fed it. And to the point where you're like, I don't know what to swallow anymore. Like, I don't know what it is. And this is true about religion. And whenever somebody wants to have control over you, they got to make you believe what they're saying. So to me, like, this affects my faith in general. It's like we have the Torah. Let's get into the Torah for a second. And then everything said after the Torah, we have to believe. Like, now it's deeply ingrained in us that strawberries have to be checked 700,000 times because it's said by someone who believes someone who believes someone who believes someone, and then in the Torah that this was straight from Moshe Rabbeinu.
Right.
It's straight from Moshe Rabbeinu, but it didn't like it happened in my lifetime. So explain it to me. And then you're like, you're a disbeliever if you don't believe it.
Right.
Like, how did that happen? You're not allowed to do that to me. Like, I believed everything until strawberries, and then I don't believe strawberries, and now you're out. You know what I'm saying? It's in everything. So I feel like there's some sort of evolution in this, like where maybe this has to happen. That, like, when there's a breaking point, you could only feed garbage to people for long enough till they will crack. And then the cracks start happening, and they get bigger and bigger, and then a new religion shows up.
Yeah. I hear it.
You getting bored?
Yeah.
You're done.
Reaching
You're done
the
with this
end.
topic.
I got toasted.
From the topic.
I mean, yeah.
I got riled
I
up.
love talking to you, man, but yeah. I think it's great that you're a cerebral guy. You're very, like, thoughtful.
That's
Like,
true.
people love you. People love you, dude. Everywhere I go, they're just like,
They love me?
slobbering. Disgusting. That's why I can never have my own name, because I look like you.
It's terrible.
They're like, you're not Sonny, but you look like him. Oh, okay. Does that give me any points?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we like him, and you represent him, so it's good. No. It's so nice that, like,
It is amazing.
I think everyone in the family has like such different way of thinking than other people in the world. People always say, like, the world's breaking, and, you know, have you ever seen a good relationship? And I'm like, I don't know, my family seems to do pretty well in life. I don't know.
It's a little weird that we do feel differently than everybody. Sometimes I'm talking to everybody else, I feel like they can't get me.
Yeah.
But my family gets you.
Yeah.
Could you wait 1 second? You could talk, but
Yes.
your nose is bleeding.
It is? Holy smokes. I got a nosebleed. That's never happened to me.
Here, the side of your nose.
Oh, it was a pimple?
Probably.
Oh, my God. You
Sorry.
told me.
We're back.
Thank you, son. You got me a tissue.
I
Oh, my God.
don't know what happened. All of a sudden, your nose sprouted blood
Eruption.
from the side. Like, what is this blood on your face?
I'm like, why is he getting up? And then your face is bleeding.
It was weird.
Yeah, there's this deep blackhead that's been bothering me for a while. I think I finally got it out.
Yeah.
On the show.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to say something. I think that the very unique thing that I've seen as a common denominator of everybody in our family is that we are super optimistic cynics. What I mean by that, and I say it about myself all the time, but I see it with almost all of us, is that we will tear anything down. Like, there's nothing sacred. Like, it's like I'm saying, like, I don't believe that smoking causes cancer. Like,
Right.
I will just, I will look at that and like, yeah, really? Yeah, really? Let me see the research. You're like, there's a cynicism. But, that being said, and maybe,
Right.
we all believe that the world could be amazing and is amazing. Like, in our relationships, I see, like, it's relationships with each other, relationships with our spouses, with our kids. It's all been like, of course you could have a great relationship with your spouse. Of course you could have a great relationship. You could have the ideal relationship with your spouse. Many of us believe that. And you see the world. We've seen more, I mean, our family collectively has seen more pain in terms of, like, I mean, we're all therapists and, you know, but we've seen so much horrible relationships. And with all of us go into this very optimistically. Like, it could be great. Or we make a program. Like, I'm going to make the best program in the world. Kiwi just created a program and you know, with ODA, and like it's like 10 times the size as when it started. It's like unbelievable. Like, he just went into that like, let's do this, you know? And he's like, he, you know, with Ellie always amazes me. Like, he deals with this like crazy stuff going on, like in Tom's River and stuff like that. He gets up, makes speeches like the world is getting better, and like it's a general feeling is that it's almost like this disconnect. And I've seen that with almost everybody in the family, where like it's almost like we should believe the world is terrible because we've seen it all, but we don't.
Right.
And it's not because we're blind. That's what I think. I mean, we're looking at everything.
I do believe that there was a certain like force field that was placed around us to protect this idea. I think.
Meaning,
Even though we come from like a pretty shaky history,
right?
There were strong sentiments about we stick together, we are different. It was a lot of those messages were there.
Yeah,
when we were younger, which I think really created a certain like the world could do its thing, and we could deal with the world, but we're gonna remain strong, intact, and do things right against a lot of odds.
You say we were in a cult
to some degree. I would say so. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the?
That's how I describe it, but only not on a podcast. You know?
Right.
Like, in a podcast, I try to not say that, but then I do.
I mean, yeah,
it's kind of culty.
It is, but you know, we weren't told to drink punch at the end, which is good.
That's good.
Yeah, we're all here.
We're all here. We didn't drink the punch, but I do find that amazing, and people are always amazed by it. They're always amazed by a family.
Yeah.
And you're always like, living in my shadow. So like, you're amazing at our place. You are, and the guys love you. And if I wasn't there, it'd be better. But
probably no,
they'd love you even more.
No.
But yeah, I don't know why we've become such. I don't know.
Force.
It's a force. It's like, why do we all decide to help on some level? Like, we're going out to change the world on some level. Like, why can't we just, like, where did that come from? I don't know where that came from.
I know. I mean,
let's hear.
That's from our mother. I believe
Was she going out to change the world?
She did it in many ways, like constantly inviting over people, constantly.
That's true.
She taught us how to have no boundaries with helping.
That's true.
And there's some negative to that, but there's also positive. The fact that, like you just bend over backwards and you go, and you do it. I mean,
That's true.
That's a good sign.
That is true. I think in our family, it would be a rebellion if you didn't try to change the world. Like, what do you think? You're so cool? You're not changing the world?
Yeah.
It's like a rebellion. I don't know. Maybe it's getting dark.
It is. But the point is...
The point is what?
It's a good fam. I'm proud to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you a question the entire podcast.
Yeah, it's true.
You made a lot of comments since our last time we were on a podcast about our other podcast.
Yeah.
I would like you to tell me what, out of everybody remembers, we talked a lot about being single, and apparently I have to apologize.
No. Well, you got to
I
first
may
hear
have
it
been a
out.
little bit callous.
You tell me if you need to apologize.
I have no idea.
No. It was just one of my friends. A few friends came up to me after they listened to the podcast, and they were like, "What the heck happened?" One friend in particular was like, "How?" Like, she described it. She's like, "I'm Sonny, right?" And so I'm married since I'm like 2, and things have been awesome. I have a great wife, got great kids. This entire time you've been single, what's that like? What do you do? And
Did it come out like that?
yeah, like we're just so disconnected. Like, what are you? And yeah, she was getting massively offended by it for me.
Oh, no. I hope I didn't do that. I have to listen to the podcast again.
It wasn't terrible.
don't think
I
it was
liked the
terrible.
conversation, but
I was interested about your life, but maybe,
but it is true. I think about it a lot. Listen, I go over to family for different holidays, different weekends, whatever. And the reality of our lives is different. It is different.
yeah.
And it's sometimes difficult to navigate it, to know how to, like, where do I fit, you know? Also, like, people don't have the same thought process as me. We think differently because of the differences of our lives.
Right.
Definitely do.
Yeah.
Like, my biggest decision is, like, should I wash my dishes or just go to sleep? That's my biggest one. I was kidding. I make big decisions, but they're different. They're not like, where am I sending my kid to school? And
Right.
I mean, I want to make those decisions, but not up to that, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a sore subject.
Is it annoying? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm about to put my foot in my mouth again. When you hear married people complain, that must be really annoying.
I mean, they're allowed. Everyone's allowed.
No, I'm cool with it allowed. It's annoying. You're like, I got this kid. He's misbehaving. Do you get, like, annoyed?
I don't. Only if it's like, no. Truthfully, I don't get so annoyed. I don't get so annoyed by it, because I really understand that everyone has their own life and their own problems, their own issues, and I know context. Context is different for them, and I don't judge them for that. To be honest, I just sometimes don't have what to respond.
Right.
Like, I can't empathize so much when you're having trouble with your kid.
Right.
I don't know.
No, I hear you.
I appreciate different contexts. I could respect it. It's like, it's not my conversation, but I could appreciate it.
Right. All right.
Anyway, that's all I gotta say.
Well, I want to say publicly that I apologize if I was really mean to you.
Don't worry about it.
I thoroughly enjoyed doing the last podcast, although I don't
Yeah.
remember everything we talked about. Every time we sit down, we could literally just talk about anything, which is fun.
Yeah.
This was out of the left field.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about our fields at all,
I
which
love
is
that.
cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Actually, that's something that people always ask me. When you guys are together,
therapizing each other?
Do you like analyze each other? Do you like, like there's like a, and I'm like, no, generally we talk about a conspiracy theory or where's Pluto?
Right.
Or like, I don't know. I don't think we ever talk therapy when we're together.
Yeah, literally never.
I don't think so.
Well, sometimes someone will say, "Look, I did this in my field,
Right.
which is a great accomplishment." And we'll be like, "Awesome, dude! That is,
Right.
good job, whatever."
A little bit of flexing. That's basically it.
Yeah, that's all.
You're like, yeah, I just changed the world in this way. And everybody's like, yeah, all right. How's a pizza?
Exactly. Actually, the truth is, we mostly talk about how we're all getting fatter. Always.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot.
A lot.
Do you know how annoyed my kids are about that? They're like, every time the Perlmans get together, they talk about fat. They're like getting fat and they gotta lose weight. My kids hate it. Like, why you always have to, like you start a meal and then we talk about how we shouldn't be eating that meal. And my kids are like, just stop it. My phone is buzzing. My phone is buzzing half the time. That's what happens.
They don't stop.
Doesn't stop. But yeah, that is interesting because really this was closer to a conversation that we would have.
A normal conversation around a Shabbos table. Like, this is how it goes down. That's it.
Although we always ended up with certain themes at the table.
Yeah, we're not going to let you in on that, though. It's just going to depress you.
We would get into certain themes. But if we sit around long enough,
rhymes with Nani and Papi.
It's depressing. That's funny. Well,
yeah.
What else? I got to get a guy on the podcast.
Yes. Well,
what should I do about that? I don't want to do Zoom.
Got the wedding coming up.
Right. So I could wait till January.
Yes.
So excited. My daughter just had, her daughter is engaged.
Yeah,
very excited. I yell it. And that's going to be super cool. So we get to go to Israel. I was thinking, I got this like portable podcasting thing that I could just, I don't have to need my whole device, and I could just go around Israel and just do all the podcasts in Israel and stuff like that.
Bring it. Oh, hold on.
Wait, Kiwi's on?
Hey, Keev.
Hey, Derek Scream.
Oh.
Hey, you're on live on a podcast.
Oh, baby. What podcast? What are we doing?
Wait, is it get louder? Kiwi, wait, put it louder.
Yeah.
Is that the loudest?
Louder?
Wait, Kiwi, you're now on the Brainstorm podcast.
Oh, my God. What an honor. I was just calling to say hello to my brother, Sonny. I called you. I just called Shim.
Oh, that was the phone call I missed?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Shim.
I was calling to say hello.
Shim was like, your phone's buzzing.
Yeah. But then now you know I called Sonny first. What does this say, family?
Oh, that hurts.
Oh.
Wait a minute. So, Kiwi, now that you joined the podcast,
Yeah.
we have a question for you.
What's the topic this week?
You wouldn't believe it.
The topic is purple.
No, we literally talked about the most nonsensical things for over an hour. We were talking about the planets. What do you think about Pluto not being a planet anymore?
I can't tell you how much that bothered me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they took something away from my childhood. It took something away from like the body of knowledge. And as a kid, you get all excited, and you got Pluto is there. People ask you about the planets, and you're like, I know one called Pluto.
That was the only one we knew.
All of a sudden, you're wrong.
Kiwi, I was saying that that Pluto was the only one named after a dog.
Well, I totally get what you're saying about the nonsensical topics. Pluto, yeah, I guess, yeah, it is a dog.
It is a dog. We were also mentioning that whenever, like, people always ask us, like, what do you guys talk about when you're together? Do you, like, therapize each other, or analyze each other? And I'm like, well, all this crazy stuff we just talked about. We don't talk about any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we used to more. I think earlier on, it was more discussion, and then it became like, let's return to our sense of like family and humanity and leave all that stuff behind.
Yeah.
And it's nicer this way, I believe.
Oh, Keith, can I ask you one question? Do you have
Yeah,
any?
but then I get to follow up. I want to ask you a question.
Okay, fine. But my question is, what do you think about the recent, viral Miami Boys Choir? Because you were.
Yerushalayim.
I thought, you know what I liked about it? I thought it was very sweet, and I think that we need more, like certainly within like the frum community, we need like better representation in the world, and I think we're a beautiful group of people. So it's like when you put it out there like that, and people could see that, and we're now J-pop. It's got a name, and people, most of the
J-pop.
comments are like positive, and they're. It's like it's a really nice thing. I thought it was great. I didn't make the cut because I was never.
Yeah, I can't find one video with you in it.
I wasn't a soloist in the choir.
So what?
So
There gotta be something with you in it.
I found there are videos that I've shown people. Like you could see me sort of clumsily dancing in the back sometimes.
He's so
in different
cute.
videos.
You were very cute.
Oh, little Chunko.
Yeah.
Sorry.
A little chunky, but that's all right. We were working on things then too.
Yeah.
And, but Jim, can I ask you? One of the reasons why I was calling you was like now that case is over, the guy's guilty.
Oh.
We talked about
How
that.
do you feel about that?
Oh my God! Well, that's where we started this podcast today. It was a slam dunk case. This guy Darrell Brooks was going to jail 6 lifetimes plus. But it was a fascinating case to watch. Very fascinating.
What was fascinating for you about it? Because I know that I spoke to you about it a little bit in Basal, and I saw a little bit, and it just made me really annoyed. I kept getting annoyed when I watched like a little clip here and there, like he somehow got under my skin a little bit, and I couldn't figure out why. I don't know why I was so bothered by him.
Right. That's the whole reason why it was a fascinating case, because really it was a test towards the DA and especially the judge. The judge had to keep her cool because his whole plan was to get a mistrial. Try to get the judge to like freak out on him and then claim that she was biased, against him. So it was like an amazing feat of like self-control. That's what I found to be really incredible, and how disrespectful someone could be of a legal system, which is pretty messed up system. But this case was through and through clear. It was clear cut. This guy rammed over people. And he also tried like a million different defenses. I wasn't there, but I was there. But there might have been people in the car other than me. I was driving, but I wasn't driving. Like, he was doing the spaghetti defense. You throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks.
See what sticks.
Yeah.
Nothing stuck.
Yeah, some little bits here and there, but he was going down. It was pretty cool.
I thought he had an interesting point with saying like you could, because he was convicted for manslaughter, right?
Yeah.
Which is, manslaughter is like the most intense.
It was intentional homicide or something.
Right. So that means I thought his argument was interesting. Like, you never know what's in a man's heart. Like, how could you say something's intentional? Because then you'd have to know what's inside a person's actual intention. I thought that was an interesting idea. Meaning it's not going to stick, obviously, because you
can say what's in someone's heart when, let's say, for the first one he hit, I was like, "Oops, my bad." I just ran over someone. But if he didn't step on his brakes, the next one, you pay for.
You mean when it starts going,
yeah,
then it's already intentional.
When you use people as a speed bump.
That wasn't nice.
Right, yeah, it's way too soon, dude.
Too soon. Listen, this is a very interesting topic because I don't know why intentions matter so much. Like, shouldn't your actions matter more than your intentions? Like,
Well,
shouldn't
no.
you act? Yeah, I'm saying like if you went and did something like that's a bad
It
action.
makes it more heinous.
If you like wanted to do it,
Yeah, planned and wanted to do it. Like you had a intention to kill. It wasn't just
right? Gotcha.
yeah.
It wasn't just like the moment, because
Like a crazy moment. Yeah.
I don't know of a single human being. I mean, again, that I know of, that hasn't had like a bad moment, a moment where they wouldn't want anyone to see them in that moment. And I think it's just, that's a part of like the heat of the moment. It's a reality that we live with.
Right.
You know.
By the way, one of his best defenses that it wasn't intent. He said, "I was honking my horn." Have you ever seen someone who intentionally wanted to kill someone who was honking their horn? I thought that was.
That's what he said.
Yeah. I honked.
How did you feel, Shim, when he was crying, like he was speaking to the jury?
He was.
And you could tell, like, he was just a very lost soul. You know what I mean? Like, he clearly knew he was going to be guilty. Everyone in the country, everyone in the world knew he was going to be guilty. Anyone who was involved, and like, there's not much you could do at that moment. The moment's over. It's in the past, and he's just left with his own remorse.
Sounds like you're feeling bad for this guy a little bit.
Kiwi can't help himself.
Kiwi,
You are such a therapist.
this guy's a murderer.
It was no, but listen. Can I just say that my compassion didn't run very deep, but I saw this guy like really crying, and it almost felt like he just was saddened by himself, and it was clear how out of control he was as a human being in his life. And he was sitting there crying. I had a moment. Where
me and Shim are making the same face. Like, not feeling it.
No, I like what you're saying. Nobody cares.
I like what you're saying, but
I would. Why don't we hang him up? And
Dude, of course he
Oh,
was.
my goodness.
He was sad. He has emotion. He's not a sociopath, I don't think.
yeah, but there's something I think sicker about the idea that he wanted to like make a mockery of the whole system. Like, I don't feel bad after you start wanting to like just screw around with the system. Like you're using this as your platform to like get out there and let the world know that the system is broken, and like you just murdered people. Like, just you feel bad about it, take your thing and cry and say sorry to the families. This sounds like a sociopath to me. I hate to say it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but like that's your platform. You think he doesn't even sound like he was trying to get off. It sounds like he was just trying to make some sort of point.
Yeah, sovereign
Well,
citizen.
he knew he would never get off. He was,
I'm saying I don't feel bad. The families are sitting right there, and you're like building forts in front of your face. Jim told me he built like a fort.
He built a fort with some boxes in front of him, so the video couldn't see him.
Is that really true? That's
Yeah.
what he did?
He built a box fort.
I don't even know much of the details, but so far as I know, like, he was just, the whole thing was on video. Everything.
And he liked that.
Nowadays, it's really hard to commit a crime like this and get away with it. This is why we don't have serial killers anymore. Because, like, everything is
We do have serial
videotaped. How are you
killers.
supposed to...
Kiwi, we have serial
really.
killers.
There's a study that there's like more than 10 active serial killers in the United States right now. I don't know how they know that. Maybe they know it because there's different MOs that serial killers do things, but there are like a bunch of them roaming around still.
There's definitely serial killers.
Sorry.
I don't know. I feel like...
Well, what?
Like the
Oh, serial
70s,
killers is
80s
not
were
school
like the
shooting.
heyday of the serial killers. We kind of missed it. They've like passed their prime.
I'm sorry that you missed it, Keith.
No, we lived through some good ones. Jeffrey
We didn't
Dahmer.
get many of the good ones. No, but that Jeffrey Dahmer, that was, I think it was 91 where he was convicted, something like that, right?
Yeah,
So that
I was 7, 8.
but when you were 7 or 8, you weren't thinking about serial killers. You weren't as interested. Now you're interested.
Yeah.
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 I
Past
hear
their
you.
prime. It's like a dead field.
Okay, we're gonna have to wrap up this podcast.
Yeah.
So, Kiwi, you're on next. I gotta get you on next.
All right, man. That
Maybe
was
we'll
wonderful.
do like a
Shim
family
will
one.
call in.
What?
Shim will call in.
Shimmelcoin.
Yes, yeah.
Or maybe we'll do. Maybe I'll bring my podcasting equipment the next time we get together as a family and just
Yeah.
go like a 5-hour conversation in a hot tub.
Ooh, yeah.
I think we should get a hot tub with a lot of
Ready to
mics and just enjoy a good conversation.
All right.
Some drinks.
Love you guys.
Love you, man.
Love you. Anyway,
Have a good one.
thanks everybody for tuning in. Shim,
That was good.
That was
man.
awesome.
Good time. It was good.
we did not
show.
plan the Kiwi thing. That was super fun.
Yes, Steve.
Yes.
I love that. Kiwi's crazy. Like, you guys are so busy,
Yeah.
and you find time. There's always time for mishpucha.
Mishpuche.
It's really beautiful.
That is true.
I love that.
Love you, man, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for this day that I've been given. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this chance. Thank you for this chance to live anew.